Each of these attacks preyed upon these women that he waited till they were alone and in the dark.
It all comes as police have struggled for weeks to control violent assaults in the New York City transit system.
You know, really scary, just a total disrespect for humanity.
Hello everyone, this is Christopher Garitano, host of the Off to the Witch podcast, and one of our latest chapters explores a form of self-defense that teaches you to kill. Our guest is a martial artist named Jason Schultz, and he's the author of the controversial Medusa Edged Weapons system, a style of self-defense specifically designed to kill an assailant in the event of a violent attack.
Deadly force is only to be used in the prevention of your own murder, or what falls under the acronym Dr. Barks. Dr. Barks is the defense of rape, burglary, arson, robbery, kidnapping, and forcible sodomy.
A lifelong student of martial arts, Jason began his studies in the late 1980s after an incident on a school bus where a fellow student threatened him with a knife. Jason grew up with a love for horror cinema, which is typically fantasy violence and far from the real impact and consequences of murder. But when he first saw the 1980 motion picture Maniac, his perspective changed. It was then that he realized there was much worse on the street than his confrontation on the school bus. With random violent crimes rising in the US and around the world, there's a growing interest in fighting styles like Medusa. It was designed and written with the Know Your Enemy philosophy. Jason specifically studied the attack and fight weapons strategies that were born of gangs and criminals within the prison system.
Three methods of Medusa are shock, latch, and stab. So what we do is we just stab, and we stab a lot.
Naturally, Medusa raises many questions, and for some triggers memories of the vigilantes of the 1980s, like Bernard Goetz.
Police continue their search today for the so-called subway vigilante who shot and wounded 4 young men over the weekend. The gunman claimed the four had tried to rob him. He then disappeared into a subway tunnel, and now the city is working with extra patrols trying to track him down. Police spokesmen say they hope the gunman turns himself in, but they also say they aren't counting on it.
Bernard Goetz eventually turned himself in and explained in this confession his lack of remorse for shooting the men who approached him on the subway.
Okay. The situation when the two move on my left and the two are on my right, now that is a real fucking threat, and if you don't recognize that.
Were they all moving?
I don't know. The important thing is to keep track of their position. You see, you're not familiar with fighting and violence. It is serious. People think of fighting. You watch Star Trek and you see Captain Kirk fight a bunch of guys, and then 3 minutes later he's walking arm in arm with a beautiful woman. That is bullshit.
Even though some condemned Goetz for the shooting, a variety of ordinary New Yorkers who lived in fear walking the streets celebrated Goetz for defending himself.
Do you feel Bernard Goetz is guilty of premeditated murder, or do you feel it was self-defense?
I feel it was self-defense. I think it was self-defense.
I think Bernard Goetz is innocent because self-defense. It's New York,
But I thought it was self-defense because he already got mugged once and he was scared that he's going to get mugged again.
Critics of the self-defense style fear that it will inspire other vigilantes to commit equally as violent crimes on the street. Regardless of said fears, Jason assures that what Medusa offers is simply a way out of a situation when there's absolutely no other choice than to become a statistical victim.
Medusa was specifically designed so that you could be out in you could be changing the brakes on your car. You have the screwdriver sitting there that you use to pop the brake pads out of the caliper. Somebody walks up on you, you have that screwdriver in your hand, you don't need to worry about a knife. You don't need to worry about slashing them. You can just stab them with a screwdriver if you needed to.
Would you kill another human being to save your own life? Would you be prepared, and would you even know how? To hear our lengthy conversation on the subject, check out the full episode and other chapters of Off to the Witch, wherever you find your podcast. And if you enjoyed this video, please support this channel, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted to all of my forthcoming uploads. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.